Good morning everybody, and a very warm welcome to Mildenhall and Volmer. And the first thing to say to you all is a happy new year to you all. Now, you're sort of standing here in my hallway, my corridor, because what I'm going to do is, before we go into the main crux of the video, I'm just going to give you a brief explanation as to why we're here and what I'm going to be doing here, and just briefly talk to you about the extension that's going to be happening. So I'm just going to spin you around and just quickly have a quick chat to you about the corridor. So currently this is my corridor, and as you can see, the TV there, and there's the corner of the extension. So the plan is to build the extension across the doorway, which will be a lift up section across here on an L shape and back along here. Now this bit here, this box here, that is another replica bookcase of that one there, except it's a white version. I couldn't get in another one of these wood effect versions. Basically, these two bookcases are going to be the basis of the unit, and then I'm just going to build on top of it, and it's just going to be an L shape between there, across there, and then another one across the top edge and across there as a display. And that's what will be happening. My first job is probably to give this wall a paint job, which I'm thinking of doing. There's a few marks on it, so I'm thinking of giving it a bit of a paint job. So that might be my first sort of effect of things that I'm going to be doing. So that's briefly what I'm going to be doing here in the corridor. Now, if you'd like to see me build it, in terms of putting it together, now I personally think it's not going to be very interesting, me putting boards together and screwing them together and all the rest of it. But if any of you find it interesting and would like to see me actually do it, I can sort of go through it in a sort of process, and then you can take it from there. The reason why I'm using these bookcases is because it's a cheap way to get set up with building a unit. If you were to actually buy the wood separately, it would cost me a lot more than what I've done here. So, and then the other thing is, for buying the additional bookcase, is the actual fact is it's actually already the same height as my other bookcases and the same height as the layout, so I don't have to worry about the height in terms of the differences in elevation and things like that. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hand you over back to myself from a few weeks ago, and then we will talk to you about the main part of the layout. So over to myself. Good afternoon everybody, and a very warm welcome to Mildenhall and Volmer. And in this video it's going to be a bit of a mashup video, which means it's going to be clips from all over the place, and it might not necessarily make a lot of sense. It's just, as I'm doing things, I will just put little clips together, and then I'll probably just put it all together into one video, because I did a video not so long ago. It's just that there's certain things and certain materials which have arrived and that I would like to get on with, but rather than just sort of end up doing a video where I say, look, this is what I've done, I thought I'd give you a bit of a sort of show you what I've bought and explain to you what I'm doing as I go along, and then as things develop over the next few weeks or so, I'll just add those clips to this video or something like that. So that's why this video is going to be a bit of a mashup. So what I wanted to talk to you first of all is you can probably see, if I can find my finger, there it is, there's my finger. In the background there's some sort of trees and bits and pieces, and that is because I went online to order some new back scenes. Now these are the same back scenes that I've used for the other end of the layout. So if you don't know what those are, I will quickly show you. So all those back scenes that you see, all those buildings along there that I've cut up, Backscene has come for those trees. It's from the same people, it's from the same company, it's from Antics Online, and I will explain to you the sheet and why I'm doing what I'm doing and how I'm doing it and all the rest of it, just so you are aware. Now this is from Town Scene, and it is for models of distinction, I think is what they call it, and or backgrounds of distinction they call it on this one. And this is the Town Scene Sheet 11, it's easy to say. And it's called the Farthingwood Dense Mature Woodland sheet. Now, like I said, if you go onto Antics Online, if you're interested in any of this, they do it in various like gauges, and they also do it in like not only Engage, but they also do different types. They even do like your ID Backscenes on there, on IDs, ID Backscenes on there as well. So it's not just these Backscenes they do, they also do the ID Backscenes. Personally, I don't really like the ID Backscenes because I think, as nice as they look, you've got to get them right for it to come out right. And I've said this a fair number of times as well. And also, sometimes they do go a bit wishy-washy on you after, if you've had them for a little while, the colours start to go on it and then you end up having to replace them. And I actually like this kind of, I wouldn't say, I don't think cartoony effect, but this artist's kind of effect. I prefer this because I just think it has more character. So this is the whole sheet. And basically they sort of marry up with one another. And I'll show you that on the back scene in just a moment. And what I've been doing is I've been cutting out the sheets and then cutting out the sky. I don't want the sky. I just want the outline of the trees, and then I'm going to build it up in layers as you go along. So I thought I'd show you how it comes in this sheet and where I got it from before I actually cut up this second sheet. It's exactly the same as the first sheet, which is lined up over there, and I will show you that very, very shortly. So as you can see from my viaduct, I've now added the first sheet, which runs all the way along there, to there, and that is approximately 1 meter 14 centimeters, 1.14 centimeters. And as you can see, it gives a little bit of another dimension to the overcast weather in the background. And I've just also added those 2 Woodland Scenics armatures. I've got a load more. And the idea is to build up the layers and just to sort of try and blend it in and give it more depth. So that's kind of what the plan is for that. And the other sheet will cover pretty much the rest of that back end. But what I would like to do is try and wrap it around this bit as well. So we're going to see how far we get with that. As you can also see, there's more detail added to the viaduct with all the tufts. I'm going to be adding some more detail like unused rail. I'm also going to be ballasting it. I'm going to be adding some speed restriction signs and all that kind of stuff before I actually go ahead with the ballasting. Get it all bedded in and then do the ballasting afterwards, because that's going to be quite messy. And then what I'll do is I'm not going to be using, I'm not sure if I mentioned it on the last video, but the ceramic tiles I've got to go on the front I won't be using on the back. But what I have done is I've made a template of it for the back piece, and then what I'm going to do is going to plastic card it and then paint it and then blend it in with what's on the front, so it actually looks like the ceramic tiles are also on the back. And I'm going to save those ceramic tiles that I'm not going to be use it elsewhere on the layout. So like I said, I've just started doing like the tufts of grass and things like that I've just added just randomly, and then hopefully it'll be nicely bedded in when I add the ballast. So hopefully that will come out really, really well. I've also bought some more matchsticks, so basically I can carry on with the cable trunking that I've got going on around the front and then bring it around the corner and carry it on to marry it up with the rest of the layout. So I've got enough bits and pieces to be getting on with over the festive period to keep me going. But so far it was just to show you this kind of bit before I cut up the second sheet. So just before we go over to the back wall and what I did with the second sheet, I thought I might as well just give you a guide as to what I've been doing so far, because it's virtually finished. It's not too far off done. So I might as well give you a complete sort of tour on this back part of the layout where I've done the extension. So here I've used Woodland Scenics coarse turf, and then various scatters on the bottom to give it a base. This I wanted to give it a bit of a low-lying feel, and the reason why I wanted to do that was, as you can see, there's the line for the joint of the two boards, where this board here is the bit that lifts up, so I didn't really give this board too much height. I do have this building, this substation, which I fitted in this corner, but this can be easily lifted off and removed as per the cars that are along here. So I've basically blended it. So I wanted to deliberately keep this relatively flat. Here I've just created some more backscene and bushes and stuff like that. I've created a crossing. This is again via Tony Northeastern, just pieces of card. I'll take you closer in so you can see. Just some pieces of card, and it's scribed through and then painted and glued. I run out of gates, but what I'm going to do is going to make a bit strip of card here, put across there, make it out like it's a gate, because I've kind of used them all. And then I've used various scatters along here. As you can see, I've got the matchsticks out because I haven't quite finished the cable trunking, but this is the basis of it. Just a line of matchsticks, and then I'll lay the card strips on top for the cable trunking. So I haven't quite finished that yet. And then I've put some various scatters along here, small and tea leaves, and just carried on with the trunking all the way down, along the back. I've more or less finished that and put the vehicles back there. Along here, I've just done the back wall. This wall was originally going to be the concrete, but this is actually plasticard, brick plasticard, and the idea is to marry it in with the viaduct, which I've now fitted, which I'll show you shortly. I've also now tried blending in this corner here, so it kind of marries up with the rest of the back scene that's going on, which I'll show you shortly. One of the big things I've done, which was yesterday, is, if I just take you out a bit, I've now kind of done this as well. I've just enclosed the bookcase and put a door on it. So now that's just ready for painting. I've put the handle on it, so that just sort of tidies it up. As you can see, it just opens out and it just tidies up that area. And basically that just makes it look nice and tidy now. So that's just ready for painting. So I've got the other side to paint, and then when I do the other unit, I'll paint it all up at the same time. So now that's just ready to go. So that just looks slightly better finished. And then if I go back up along here, you can now see the extent of the work that's been done. The fascia board has been painted, but I do need to go over it again. You see some of the graining. I finally put up the ceramic tiles along here, the viaduct, and that's all been weathered. And so it doesn't, because it looked a bit too plain and one colour. The back bit was actually card, which I've created from the template of the viaduct on the front, of the ceramic tiles on the front. So I've done that, and that goes all the way down to the end, until you get to there. So basically this whole thing is pretty much finished. And as you can see, the back scenes I've got from Town Scene sort of create another perspective on the back there, which I think is better than the buildings that I have. And then you can see the trees and everything like that, and the foliage that I've been adding. I haven't finished it yet. I still need to add some more trees along the back, but you can sort of see that there's trees along the back there, but I want to add some more trees in the foreground a bit more. And they are various Woodland Scenics things. So I'm going to just take you close up so you can have a good look at the track work. So as you can see from here, I've started doing the autumnal stuff, which sort of starts from here at the moment. I haven't quite finished with this, but as you can see along the track work, I've been adding various bits and pieces. It's now all ballasted. It does all work, and it's ballasted all the way through down to the end. So I'm now off the tripod doing this freehand, because I think you get a better idea freehand what I've been doing. I've also been sort of adding all this dirt and turf and everything along that from the sides all the way along down. So there's some leaves sort of on the line and to the sides, all the way down, some disused track as you go all the way down. and all the way down to the tunnel mouth. And then on the top there, I've kind of made it as autumnal as I can do, and trying to create an autumnal feel. I don't know if it does, but I mean, I like it anyway. I think I've come out all right. Like I said, I would like to get some new some more trees. They're a bit greener, just to sort of mix it up a bit. So there is some more greener trees on here. So, so like I said, you've got some like this one here, but there isn't too many that I have. So I want to add some more trees along this back bit here and just sort of put it in, and then I think that will make it look really good, because I think it will just give it a better contrast. But as you can see for now, this is what I've been up to. So that's virtually complete. So hello and welcome back. So what I should actually say at this point is I didn't actually show you what I got for Christmas. And that's because a few bits have arrived, but then I did get some money for Christmas. So I've spent that money on the railway. However, I'm waiting for those bits to come. So that will be a separate video overall as to what's turned up over Christmas. So that will probably be the next video in terms of probably an update on what's going on with the extension. So I'm not going to go through the Christmas gifts just yet, as I'm still waiting on stuff to turn up. But what I wanted to talk to you about is some of the stuff that I've been using on the layout, because some of you may be asking how I've done the trees or where the trees come from and what sort of products I've been using and things like that. So like I said, I'll just go for a quick overview of what I've been using. You now know where I got my Backscenes from and how they've come about. So let me just go through some of the other stuff. So once again, these ceramic arch tiles, they've come from eBay. Like I said, I didn't realise they were ceramic when I bought them, but I have bought them and they look pretty effective. But as you can see, they're sort of a plain grey as they come, but as you could hopefully you can see from my video that they have been weathered and toned down with some null, which is quite easier said, it's easier to say. And basically I've also painted the backs, not all the way, but halfway through. So when you see the trains coming along, you're not going to see the ceramic on the back there. I've just painted them out into the grey just to try and blend it in a bit better. So that's what I've done with these ceramic tiles. So just put that away. One of the other things I've been using is just general armatures that I've had from previous, and this is just like a brand new one. Now in some of these packs that I'm about to show you, you do get one armature with the pack, and you can use that. And I've been using, like you can see on my layout, I've just used some bare ones, some old ones, spare ones that I've had, and basically that gives the autumnal feel, like the leaves have fallen off the trees. So I've used some of them bare or straight onto the layout, but this is a brand new one that came with one of the packs that I'm about to show you. So also what I've been using is using like coarse turf from Woodland Scenics. This is burnt grass, so I've also been using that, which is what's in sort of the low lying area over in that corner there. I've also been using this stuff here, which is called Fine Leaf Foliage by Woodland Scenics. This is the dead foliage, so that's kind of like the sort of browny sort of stuff. And if I just open it up, you can sort of see I've still got some left in there, and there's some usable bits in there. It's a bit kind of like seafoam trees in some ways, that there's bits in there that you can use as trees, and then there's other bits in there that you can't really use as trees, but you can use as bushes or things like that. So this is the Fine Leaf Foliage, dead foliage, which I've bought. And like I said, you get a whole pack, and then you can use it along the layout in terms of either trees or bushes and things like that. In the same manner, I did buy another pack. This is the fall mix, and as you can see from the back, there's still a fair amount in there. I haven't quite used it all yet, but let me just open it up so you can have a rough idea of what you get. And again, some of this you can be using as trees, some of this you can use as bushes. and any remains that you can use that are just on the bottom there, you can just use a scatter, and you could just sprinkle it on to the layout and do as you so wish with it. And like I said, with each of those packets, those fine leaf packets, you also get an armature with a base on it, so you can make a tree out of it if you want to do that. Some of the other ones that I've got is, this is also Woodland Scenics. Now I haven't got the packaging for this, but this is like the fine leaf foliage matting. And as you can see, it's just like a mat. But if you tease it out, it works a lot better. And as you can see, there's all this sort of loose stuff on the bottom, and that can be just used as scatter as well. And you can use it on all sorts. Now what I've done in some of these trees is I've actually teased out some of that matting and draped it over the armature to create my own trees like that. So if you do have some old armatures that you're not using and you want to turn them into trees and things like that, you can actually sort of tease a bit of this material out and then sort of create trees from it and sort of drape it across, which is what I did on some of the trees at the back there. So there's a mixture of the fine leaf foliage trees, which are probably the more realistic ones to look at, which is like these ones here. And then after there's the ones that I've used with just the armatures and the matting. So I've got this one here. Now on the matting that you get two sort of colours. There's sort of a lighter colour, a lighter red, and then there's a sort of darker, deeper one. And it's the same with the yellow. I've got the yellow one here. There isn't, no, don't be confused, there isn't no Marks & Spencer's chocolate cornflake bites in there. They didn't last very long. They disappeared already. But there is the yellow version in there, which I've used. So, and that again is also matting. And as you can probably tell, actually, if I lift this up, you can see that there's two sort of variants. There's this darker one here, and then there's a lighter one here. And then, like I said, you could tease it and use it any way you want, either as like a sort of shrubland type thing, or you can use it as I drape it over the trees, which I've done. And then after, there's also some scatter right in the bottom, so you can just sprinkle it on the layout to give it like that leaf foliage kind of look. So that's also good to use. One last thing before we go. PG tips. It doesn't have to be PG tips, basically it's tea bags. So it doesn't have to be any particular. This is one that I've just had open, and I've just decided to basically just, there's only one left in here, I don't even know why, but you just take the tea bag out, split it, and use the contents, the tea leaves, to sprinkle it onto the layout, and that gives the layout a bit of an earthy look. So it gives it that dark brown earthy look, so that works really, really well. So like I said, that sort of concludes the end of this video. Like I said, I'm not going to go through what I've got for Christmas yet until I kind of get everything together, and then I can just show it to you all in one go. Like I said, I'm still waiting on bits and pieces to turn up with the layout, and it might not be till mid-January that it turns up, because some of it is on back order. So hopefully I'll get it by mid-January. So we'll see. But in the meantime, continued season's greetings to all of you, and I'll speak to you all soon. And I'd like to thank everybody for your continued support over the year, and for commenting, taking the time to watch the videos. And once again, like I said, thank you so much for everything. It's just been so cool that, you know, I've met some wonderful people this year. Obviously not as many people as I would have liked due to coronavirus, but like I said, stay safe and take care of yourselves, and hopefully this year we might be able to meet up a bit more in some of these exhibitions and see how we get on. And also, sort of in the pipeline, if any of you are in Alton area, FebX is on, as far as I'm aware. I believe it's usually the first weekend in February. So those of you who are local to Alton and sort of that sort of area, there is going to be an exhibition at the beginning of February. I'm not sure if there's going to be any exhibitions in Basingstoke this year. I'm not too sure. I think it has been cancelled, that one, but I'm not sure. But as far as I'm aware, the FebX one in Alton is still going ahead in the first weekend in February, which I shall be attending. So any of you who are interested in attending that event, I shall be attending my local event there. So until next time, it's take care, and hopefully the next time the corridor will have changed a fair amount. So toodaloo and take care. Bye for now.